Hello, my name is Mike Alberting. I don't have a slideshow presentation because my report is on race car aerodynamics. And so instead, I'm at a racetrack today. I'm running my Corvette here at the Heartland Motorsports Park. And I'm gonna talk about my presentation as I kind of walk around the paddock here and show you guys some race cars and talk about, what my report was kind of about. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to discuss is the rules and regulations in IMSA. IMSA is the International Motorsports Association, and they run a bunch of races. They run races, I don't know if they run any races here at Heartland, but they run races all over the country. And basically what they do is they are a league of racing. There are different classes in that league. And the class I was focusing on for my formal report is called GTD, also known as Grand Touring Daytona. Which are similar to Le Mans cars for GTLM, but they're not quite the same. Anyway, so the reason that motorsports regulations is important is because you have to make sure that everyone within the same class is not cheating or getting any sort of competitive advantage that they shouldn't have. We got a massive wing on that Miata over there. This is the paddock behind me right now for the track day. You want to make sure that no one's getting any sort of competitive advantage. Another cool car, Porsche Cayman GT, very fast. Hope the wind noise isn't too bad. You want to make sure no one's getting too big of a competitive advantage against anyone else within the same class. And so, okay, I'm not part of that meeting. Intermediate advanced drivers, I already went to that meeting. So you have this balance of performance that IMSA and the ISR, which is the International Sports Car Regulators, which are the people that help regulate everything, with IMSA. Then you also have FIA, which is a big French word that I'm not going to pronounce, which is who regulates part of IMSA as well as Formula One and stuff like that. Anyway, so what I'm getting into is that you want to make sure no one's getting too big of a competitive advantage. A competitive advantage can be gained from having your car be underweight, right? Making it way less than it should. Having too many aerodynamic elements, all of the above. I'm gonna kind of hide behind this truck and we're gonna talk next to this race car who I befriended earlier. So I'm gonna put the race car in the background there. Okay. So you can gain a competitive advantage with those things. And with that, the Grand Touring Daytona rule set has this thing called balance of performance. What balance of performance is it will, depending on the car that it is homologated for. So for example, a Porsche 911 is homologated to a certain spec with the balance of performance for that certain team. The balance of performance tells them what types of aerodynamic elements they can have. For example, a rear wing on the back of this Corvette, as well as the power they can produce and their weight. All those things are regulated. You can make adjustments to your car setup, but they will then analyze it and figure out if you're making too big of an advantage and if they need to adjust your balance of performance. For example, if this Corvette here decided that they wanted a way bigger wing, if it was, well, let's take a look at it right now. The Corvette wing is pretty big. It goes on the back of the car. Say if they wanted to make it even wider and even longer, right, for more downforce, that would be better because it would make the car faster. It would have it stick to the ground harder, and it would help improve the speed on track. But that would come with a negative penalty to the balance of performance. The IMSA sporting regulators, ISR, and IMSA itself would say, hey, that's too big of a wing. We need to now take your power down a little bit or increase your weight or do something to balance it out. Luckily, you can make some adjustments that they don't necessarily deem as like cheating and that are more just pushing the envelope of what you can do. So the two things I analyzed are a company called Motive Engineering, and they have GTD cars that they are trying to improve their speeds on and trying to make faster. And so I looked at how to make those cars faster. The two main things I'm going to talk about, or more if I am starting to run low on time, is a Vortex Generator system, which we will discuss, as well as a different situation and setup for the rear wing. There's race cars in the background. let's talk about Vortex Generators first. There's not gonna be a great example I can give on this car because, oh, pops and bangs, because there are no Vortex Generators on this car. This car is older. This is a Corvette from, I wanna say 95 maybe. It runs in the GT1 category, which is not IMSA, but we're just gonna pretend that, you know, this is more like a GTT car. This car does not have any Vortex Generators on it. Where you could apply Vortex Generators are any part of the car that you want increased levels of interaction with the boundary layer. So if we had some sort of generation system right under the lip or on the wing itself, what that's going to be able to do is it's going to be able to take the clean air that is still traveling quickly, because that as it approaches the actual body panel of the car, it's going to slow down. And within simulation, you know, the microscopic amount of air that's right above the body panel is actually not moving, which is not what you want. You want as much air to interact with that aerodynamic element as possible. So you want to add Vortex Generators. What those are is they're little winglets. So on this car, you would add little winglets right here, right? Little pieces of stick out. You would probably also want to add some on the rear wing itself. So on this wing, you'd put little inclines, like little fins, basically, like little shark fins, like dorsal fins. And what that does is it's going to take air from the clean moving air above the wing and help bring it down onto the wing, which is going to let that air interact more with, in this case, the wing, and is going to allow you to create more downforce using the already existing elements. Why is this important? Well, for this car, if you don't want a negative balance of performance impact, you want to, as much as you can, increase the capabilities of your current setup without adding too much, right? You don't want to change out a whole rear wing if you can already just optimize your current situation. So in this case, adding Vortex Generators would help give clean air to the already existing elements, allowing your car to be a little bit faster. Vortex Generators, great idea. Slap them on. They can be super easily manufactured and just adhered. I don't know why these guys aren't running them. Maybe they're illegal in their class, but they're not illegal in GTD, which is why I researched them. Next thing, multi-element rear wings. Right here, we have a single element rear wing. What that means is that this wing is one piece of carbon fiber. It isn't separated by anything. We have a little kick up in the back here. There's a little piece of metal that comes to kick up air. The air flows that way, and it's here to kick it up. You run into limitations with wings. Say if we wanted to increase the amount of downforce in the rear of this car with a wing. That's not me, that's the advanced group. Increase the amount of downforce with the rear wing. You could increase its total area by either lengthening it in one direction or another to make it larger, except that would probably come with a balance of performance decrease. Instead, what we want to do is we want to optimize using the size of this wing. Two things we could do from there. We could increase the angle that the wing is set at. What this would do is it would push the rear of the car down harder, but this comes with a direct negative impact to drag, right? The more you kick that wing up, the more it's just kind of holding on to that air and not allowing you to slide through the air really smoothly at 170 miles an hour. So what you could do is you could add another element to this wing. What that would mean is you'd be taking the current profile. This is a flipped upside down airplane wing basically, which makes it push down. And you could add a second element right here, about that big as a second element on this rear wing. What that would allow you to do is it allows you to only slightly increase the camber with a much more drastic increase to your total downforce production. I'm gonna keep walking here and we're gonna keep talking as we look at more cars. Obviously that's great, because that means that you can increase your, there's so many race cars in the background, it means you can increase your downforce without actually creating a ton more drag to your system. Here we have another example. I haven't talked to this person yet, so I don't really want to go film their car, but here's another race car, right? They have a massive rear wing, no second element. Two element aerodynamic wings are more complicated, but they do give you a obviously much greater level of downforce in the rear. You can increase that camber a little bit, right? Kicking that up more without the same negative decrease to drag. So those are the two things I was talking about. vortex generators and aerodynamic elements as they apply with the ruling in IMSA. So thank you very much. Have a good one.